Hello, friendly friends, and it's time for a traditional YouTube cooking video. I don't know what to tell you. I wanted to bake a cake, and so I'm here. I'm going to bake a cake. But it's not just any cake. See, this is my birthday cake. Ignore the fact that my birthday was several months ago and I've just been like sitting on this idea the entire time till then. This is supposed to make me the happiest birthday girl on planet Earth. So in order to do that, I thought, why not just do everything that I love in one cake? Which the first step to that is having it not be cake. Cake is actually one of my least favorite desserts to eat other than the frosting. So that's literally the only part we're going to keep. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to make a 3-tiered cake with each tier being a different dessert. We're gonna have at the bottom a brownie layer, in the middle a pie layer, and at the end a cheesecake layer. Or I might switch those around depending on stability. This whole thing is untried, untested, and also I am not a baker, so we're kind of just winging it. For all the recipes that I'm going to use and abuse today, they will all be linked in the description down below so that if you want to make this monstrosity at home, you can attempt it. Maybe you can learn from my mistakes. I haven't made them yet, but I'm certain I'm about to make so many. So with everything settled, it is now time to actually cook. But this isn't exactly how a YouTube cooking video works. So we're gonna need to fix, give me a second. If I was going to pick a dessert, I think honestly right now I could go for like a nice slice of cheesecake. Really, it is almost a perfect dessert. Whoever thought, crazy idea, I'm gonna put cheese in a cake, that person's a goddamn genius. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Gorging with Gail, where this week we're going to make a traditional cheesecake. So first things first, we want to equip our strongest pair of arms. Ideally, these are arms that have baked before, but as long as they're ready for hard labor, they'll suffice. Then in a food processor, we're going to combine ingredients for our graham cracker crust. We're throwing in 3.5 ounces of pre-crumbled up graham crackers, 3/4 of an ounce of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and finally a pinch of salt to taste. Then put the cap on and hit the mix button only to realize you forgot to put the blade into the processor. Add the blade and put the lid back on and mix until everything is combined. Go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees and then in an 8-inch round pan, spray the bottom and edges with a liberal helping of cooking spray before lining the bottom with parchment paper. I like making origami out of mine before placing it into the pan, but cutting up a paper snowflake will work just as well. Then fill the bottom with our graham cracker mixture and pat gently to create a delicious disc for our cheesecake to sit on. Next up is that cheesecake filling, so into a clean dish we're cracking 4 eggs, separating the last one to give us 1 extra yolk. This is to give our cheesecake extra strength to face the horrifying future it is about to find itself in. Then we need to whisk our eggs with an appropriately tiny whisk before jumping to the main show. In a stand mixer, combine 6 ounces of sugar and 20 ounces of cream cheese, setting on low speed until homogenized into a creamy paste. This may take a couple of minutes, so don't forget to relax yourself with an array of dances that might be from Fortnite. I'm not entirely sure, but then again, I'm almost 30 years old. Scrape down the mix from the sides of the bowl and slowly add our egg mixture in small batches. Then add 2.5 ounces of heavy whipping cream and a teaspoon of vanilla extract and continue to mix until you get a consistency that looks like melted chocolate. Then we'll pour our batter into our pan and smack on the table to get any lingering air bubbles out. The next part is kinda tricky. We're going to need a large, deep pan that reaches as high as the top of our batter. We're going to be using a technique called a water bath. By filling the outside pan with water, the cheesecake is going to heat more evenly and create a more seamless texture. Once full, we're going to put the pan in the oven for 1.5 hours. And then we move the pan to a cooling rack before wrapping it up and storing it in the fridge for later.
You're bad at baking, yeah, you're totally bad.
Today we're making mediocre pie, and we start by turning our undo to 400, then getting scared and settling for a far safer 325. This recipe requires a crust, but I'm too lazy to crush and mix it all by myself, so it's time to bring in the big guns. This baby might not be Hokage, but it is ready to prove itself. So we take a box of chocolate. Oh no. So to make chocolate graham crackers, simply take normal graham crackers and show them
the power of the dark side.
If we've threatened them sufficiently, we'll now have a nice full bag of chocolate crumbs for our pie. And while we're prepping, go ahead and pamper our cream cheese so it's nice and soft. Then melt some butter in the microwave and combine it with the chocolate crumbs. Then put the cap on, and you might think you won't make two mistakes using the same food processor in one YouTube video, but you'd be wrong. Don't be sad though, it takes years to master the ninja way. Then spray our pan with toxic chemicals and lay out our crust into a flat, even disc. You can use this time to contemplate the nature of good versus evil, of achieving greatness yourself versus using others to climb higher. But remember, this is a mediocre pie, so too much deep thought will spoil the flavor. To start the filling, we need peanut butter, and to get the freshest flavor, we need to find wild peanut butter squash. They aren't known to grow during this season, but if you know what signs to look for, you can still find some good ones hidden by squirrels. Then crack open the top and scoop out what we need. Or, better yet, we can cut into the sides of the squash and pull out the nut seed, which contains the more concentrated flavor profile. Now we need the wisdom of an old man who only knows how to do one thing, but God is he good at it. Throw in our sugar, cream cheese, and peanut butter so he can wang jangle it into sweet peanut mush. In a separate bowl, pour in whipping cream and sugar. Then we can equip ourselves with the 4-knuckle special and race the machine to prove human superiority. We'll lose, but that's what makes this pie so mediocre. Then we'll fold in our failure with his accomplishment until neither really matters anymore, and pile it on top of the pie crust to hide our sins from the world. The last step is to clean the freezer for the first time in months, so we can put our pie away forever. Hello, welcome to day 2. Ignore the fact that I look exactly the same as day 1. So, we have left these desserts to chill overnight. I shouldn't say we, I should say I. I really want to relinquish all credit that could be given to you, truly. I have let these 3 desserts sit in the fridge overnight so they could get nice and cold, because as crazy as this idea is, I did do at least the bare minimum of thinking on how to make this work, and one of the ideas was that if I keep everything super cold as I'm building this monstrosity, all my layers will be at least a little bit stronger in order to pile on top of each other and not completely just like break apart. So that is my hope. So we're going to try to keep everything as cold as possible while we are building. Okay. I guess I just have to go for it. This is the most nerve-wracking part. Okay. Can confirm the cheesecake is squishy and is not rock solid, which is good for getting it out of the pan. Makes me fear for the future of this cake, but that's fine. That's fine. Can I just plate? Okay, I'm being instructed that I should put the plate on it first. I'm being instructed by our resident kitchen expert that we have kept in the field today just for occasions like this. All right. Okay. I guess it's torch time. I have been instructed on how to use this thing. I have never used it before in my life.
This here, just the strength of the flame. If it's on minimum, it's not going to go. There's also a push and lock.
This is potentially the scariest part of this entire process. I am uncomfortable with fire. Oh! Hey! There we go. Beautiful. There we go. A beautiful cheesecake. Get rid of the skin layer. Ta-da! Okay, we have our first layer. Oh, it's so heavy. It's so heavy. I did not anticipate how heavy this would be. Thoughts? Should have maybe thought of that before I came up with this entire thing. Tastes good though. All right, while we get the rest, I'm gonna throw this in the freezer because again, the idea, rock solid, won't come apart as we fundamentally build together this stupid cake. All right, so next up I'm going to do the brownie that we made. Sorry, that I made. I totally did all the work in this video because I am a cooking, baking master, and I definitely did not outsource any of the work to more practiced, stronger hands. I think I'm joking, it actually is that hard. Haha! See? Easy, peasy, beautiful, cover girl. Ta-da! And this one might be even heavier than the first one. All right, that one's pretty solid. I think like knock on that wood, but like brownie wood, I think it'll be fine. That one's gonna be fine. All right, time for our final pie, the peanut butter pie. I got a smaller one. Supposedly this should make things easier. I don't know if I believe our kitchen expert. Something tells me he's trying to sabotage me for some reason. Could not figure out why. I've done nothing worth sabotaging, you know? Look, all I'm saying is, you know, sometimes in a marriage, one spouse will come to the other and say, I want to bake a 3-layered crazy cake. And the other spouse will say, sure, what flavor? And then the first spouse will reply, well, I really don't want a regular cake, so what if the flavors are cheesecake, brownie, and peanut butter pie, but it's an actual peanut butter pie and an actual cheesecake and an actual brownie, and there's actually no cake in it? And the correct response in that is to say, yeah, sure, which of course, you know, would be great. But then the first spouse is also really bad at baking. And so they tell the second spouse, hey, you actually do this like all the time. So what if you did it for me? And then we made it into a 3-part parody series of various YouTubers that you love. And then the second spouse goes, sure, I'm willing to do that. But then the first spouse goes, yeah, but I need everyone to believe that I did it because my sense of self-worth is based on people thinking that I can accomplish cool and crazy things and that I'm not just an ideas person. I'm actually someone who can accomplish the ideas that they have. And then the other spouse goes, oh, okay, so like I get no credit. And then which is all to say that marriage is about compromise. Aha! And there we go. A nice, clean pie. I am wasting all of our blue plates. Haha! Peanut butter. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the freezer so that it can re-solidify now that it is free of its prison. And then we will come back for assembly. I don't know if we even have room in this freezer. Now, I have a confession to make here in this sacred space that we have built together. You on your bed or at your workplace or on the toilet, and me in this kitchen that I have put no effort into in the 3 years that I have lived here because it is far too big a project for me to tackle right now. I kind of lied to you. I know. I have broken the sacred contract between YouTuber and viewer that I must never lie or manipulate anything about my videos to do anything that is not strictly the truth. However, I felt it was kind of important that I kept the rule of 3s, because 3 is a very nice number. It is a number that is aesthetically pleasing. It works great for thumbnails. 4 is just not that great a number. Here is the 4th layer of my monstrosity cake. It is a good old-fashioned, from your local grocery store cookie cake. Probably the most superior cake of all. You can fight me, but you would lose. So yeah, this is going to be the base of our cake. We're going to build our monstrosity on top of this as our beginning platter. I have high hopes. I have high hopes this is gonna work great. And if not, this entire everything put together will at least be enough calories to sustain me for the next month. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this cookie in its original container packaging thing. As you can see with the future steps, it probably is going to be helpful in making sure we don't have spillage. We're gonna get to that step later, but I promise it'll make sense when we get there. All right, so our first layer is the brownie chonker. And I'm just gonna use the frosting that's already on this cake as its sealant. There we go, already beautiful. See, it just like fits right on there, doesn't it? Doesn't it look so delectable already? All right, so we have our first layer here, our beautiful brownie. It's gonna make a great base, good chocolatey base, but we're gonna need to lighten it up before we get to our next layer. So it's time to put the frosting middle layer on top. My next thought is frosting. So I'm going to do that trick where you put your piping bag in a cup so that it hopefully is less messy. I'm using just a regular piping tip. I know they have like numbers and letters and stuff. It's just for filling, so I don't think it matters. We've gone ahead and made a buttercream frosting that is vibrantly green because you're gonna see the beauty of this cake at the end. I promise, it'll be worth it. I say, not knowing the future and how any of this is going to turn out. You know, surprisingly enough, between Darling and I actually worked in a bakery. Not in any cooking role, absolutely not. They would have fired me immediately. But I did happen to work in one. That's it, that's the anecdote. All right, so we're just going to do an outer layer of the buttercream. This is the part I really care about piping, not for prettiness necessarily, though if it looks pretty, that's a bonus. But more because I want to create a nice barrier between the outside and the inside. All right, I'm putting a dollop to fill up the center We're gonna try to make it as level as possible so that it makes it easier for the rest to go on, but I'm not going to overfill with the filling. I don't know, seems like a good idea. This is why I wasn't allowed to decorate anything back at the bakery. They saw my skills with a spatula and they were scared. All right, looks good enough to me. And now we're going to put the secret sauce on. So now we're going to add a little flavor to our filling by adding the secret sauce, which is a butterscotch that Darling made, homemade, so that it can combine with the layers. I'm going with chocolate, peanut butter, butterscotch, cheesecake. Really, is there a flavor profile? I don't know, but it sounds delicious to me, so I'm going with it. So the tough choice right now is between cheesecake or pie, which becomes the second layer. And I think after handling them both, I honestly think the cheesecake is slightly denser and more likely to withstand the weight. It's also heavier. So I think, even though neither is a great building material, we're gonna go with the cheesecake as the second layer. All right, I'm taking the fattest spatula I own. This boy is thick, and hopefully that will provide the stability needed to transport this cheesecake onto this cake. Our food specialist is giving me concerned looks. Food specialist, do you have anything to say?
That's meant for smash burgers.
Well, now it's meant to transport cake. Don't question my methods. This video is about not questioning my methods. Don't let your dreams be memes, guys. Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Suck it! Adjust it a little bit, but there we go. A beautiful second layer to our cake. Now, we don't have a lot of time to celebrate because we gotta get this while everything is still cold. I don't wanna press on it too much. Pressure is my enemy right now. And that means emotional pressure too. Darling, I need your support. Darling? Darling? Emotional support? Please? Thanks. Now I feel all better. I'm gonna try this little spatula. Yeah, so much better. This was made for frosting. Quite literally, so it makes sense that it works better. Oh yeah, there we go, there we go. Really get into the crevices, butterscotch. Yes. There we go. Into the fridge for like a minute. Oh, this thing is heavy. Okay, well that takes a second or two or 5, however long I randomly determine it can chill in there. How's it going? I hope you are liking this video so far. If I manage to accomplish my dream and create a 4-level monstrosity cake, I hope you'll think about subscribing. I will never do this ever again. Probably I will never do anything like this ever again. And I doubt you're going to like any of my other content because I produce purely trash content. But subscribing is free and you don't have to admit to anybody that you did it. So consider subscribing for me. All right, we have our plan of attack for the last layer. You see, after the last layer is put on, we have one more step before frosting the entire thing, decorating it, and finishing off. Fantastic final shots, the whole shebang. That final step is a ganache. My thought process in putting a ganache on this monstrosity is that ganache is hard, and having an outer layer might keep things together and from falling out, whereas frosting, I can see the cake just falling apart as I try to frost it. So we're going to try put final layer on top of the cake, then freeze it, make a ganache, pull the cake out, make it ganached, and then throw it back in the freezer, let it all harden into a solidified thing. And once it's solidified, bring it out for the final decorating montage. I do kind of want to weigh this before we finish because I want to know how much this weighs. Now it is time for peanut butter pie. And honestly, this thing is actually so solid, I can just pick it up. I don't need the spatula. This thing is a rock, which is good. And there we go, there we go. It's a little lopsided. It's okay, it's okay. Okay, all right, I think that's it. That's our monstrosity. Pie, cheesecake, brownie, cookie. The perfect dessert. Now to ganache it. Here, come closer. Come get the good shot. All right. All our hopes and dreams. Butter layer underneath. What do you think?
I shouldn't say what I think.
All right. I think our monstrosity is gorgeous. He be beautiful. Now he needs to freeze really quickly before everything melts away. I already have like 3 of these. All right, we've waited a little bit, allowed the monstrosity to freeze so that hopefully it's structurally sound enough and strong enough to withstand the force of me decorating it. Settle it. There we go. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. No notes. This truly is the most beautiful thing I've ever created in my life. All right, so our next step here is to decorate it, and we are going to paint it green. You'll understand why in a minute. That's all that's the best I can do right now. Plop it on and just try to get as much icing, frosting on this baby as possible. Now the goal is in fact to try to make this as smooth as possible. Will it even be possible? I have no idea. And there we have it. Look at this beautiful birthday cake. Truly an amazing creation. I couldn't have done it without all my friends and family support. Oh, wait, it's not decorated, you say? It's just green? I just made a green cake? I spent all this time, all this effort, and all I did was make it green. All right, and so our cake somehow has lived through the trials and tribulations of its birth and is here. I made my dream cake, which is also a green screen cake, because like I said earlier, I'm not gonna do this again. I don't have it in me. I mean, I don't think Darling has it in him to try to do this whole thing again, just because I asked him to so I could make a monstrosity and do a green screen joke. But I hope this worked out, because in my head, this is a genius idea for YouTube birthday cake. So, before we do the final cross section, cutting into it, seeing what it's like on the inside, I do want to get an accurate weight representation for this, because I don't think you guys understand how heavy this cake got. So this is our little like ingredient weight thing. It has a max capacity of 20 pounds. So we're going to see if we break that first. Oh my God. It's 14 pounds. It's almost 14 and a half pounds. 14 and a half pounds of pure sugar. All right, it's time for the point you've all been waiting for, the cross-section cake cutting time. I've been equipped with 2 knives, so I am equipped to cut this cake and for home invasions, but nothing else. Drum roll, please. Extend the drum roll. Reached resistance. Oh, push through resistance 1. I think we're in the brownie layer. Continue that drum roll. Don't you dare stop that drum roll. Oh, we're going through it. We're sawing through it. We're making it. We're making it through. We're in the cookie later. I think we're out. I think we're at the bottom. Okay. You can pause the drum roll now. I think I did it. I think I broke through. I think it is cut in half. Yeah, okay. How do we separate this? Yes, ready for this glorious cross section? We're going to reveal the monster cake within. Look at that. Look at all these beautiful layers of cake and frosting and butterscotch and an Oreo crumb crust and a normal crust and a cookie cake at the bottom. This is what perfection looks like. You may not be ready for that truth, but this is it. This is peak dessert. All right, and here we have our final product, the ultimate creation of peanut butter pie, cheesecake, and brownie. And it's time to do our official taste test. See, was it worth all that effort. Oh, I want to get every layer in this bite. There we go. All right, happy birthday to me. It honestly just tastes like chocolate peanut butter mush and butterscotch. Yeah, I guess overall it's fine. I already, you know, I can think of some improvements that we can do. In fact, darling, do you want to make another one and we can?
No!
So what have we learned from this experiment of ours? Absolutely nothing. And also quite a lot. This whole thing was more of a making a dream a reality kind of scenario than making anything actually tasty or innovative in the cooking space. I learned there's a reason why people don't put pie on cheesecake, on brownies, on cookie. But I also learned that a cheesecake can withstand the pressure of an entire pie on top of it, and a brownie can withstand the pressure of both of those on top of it, and also that I really can make my husband do anything if I tell him it's for a YouTube video. So,
God damn it!
So I hope you've enjoyed this exploration into kitchen cooking shenanigans. Don't do what I did. I did everything wrong. And I'm surprised it turned out as well as it did. And now I have to eat the results of my hubris. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more video content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!